a unique type of video. So I wanted to go and show everyone my phones that I've had. Now, I don't know where this one's at. I still actually have it somewhere. But I looked up the old Motorola track phones. And it's the V170. That is my phone, my first phone. It was the first phone that I had in 6th grade, late 6th grade, into 7th grade. And it was basically just that, a phone. It had some games that I remembered playing on there, but it was like a limited time on there. And it had a racing game. In today's standards, it would obviously be very low. But it was still a phone, nonetheless. And I remember when I was in that grade, they were like, oh, it's that type of phone. But to me, it was, I have fond memories looking back on it, thinking that's where it started. That's where it all started, that Motorola V170. And it's kind of cool to think it went from that to literally the graphics we see today of 4K phone quality. But yeah, they had some basic games in there, and I would text Mama whenever I would call her whenever I needed, whenever I needed, or if it was after school and she wasn't able to make it on time or something because of some circumstance, I could call her and find out. And that was a big deal. Back then, it was just like having a cell phone was a big deal. And that was a good starter phone. But that was it, the Motorola V170. And you paid for minutes. It was a track phone. And you paid for minutes on it. I remember the buttons lit up. I think the buttons lit up. I don't know if the buttons lit up on that one or not. But let's see. And then my next phone, right after that, looked a lot like this one. It was an LG Shine, I believe. Let's see. I can't find it on here. That's it right there. That one right there. The LG 441G. But I remembered it being marketed as an LG Shine. Well, let's see. It looks like the same one that my mama had recently. Pretty sure it was an LG Shine. Pretty sure I asked for pecan sandies. No, I'm pretty sure that looks like my mama's phone right there. She had the LG B360 or B460. I had the LG Shine, I think. LG Shine was the one that I had. The closest one I could find was back there. But then my next phone was the Motorola Atrix. That was the next phone that I had in 2009. And it's so small looking in comparison to what we see today, but that's it right there. It was so small, I could still see it like a 3-inch screen. The Motorola Atrix. And it was a really good phone. And it was 3G, but it was such a big deal in comparison to, what we have today. It's like, low key or low, it's like low end, but it was so good for back in the day. I remember being able to surf the internet, and I was, data was like rare back then. I remember we had 2 gigs. We had a 2 gig data plan back then, and that was a big deal. I remember heard everyone talking about this red flip phone, and that was considered the big deal back then. The red flip phone, it had, let's see, a satellite phone, and it was, this boy at school had a satellite flip phone that played music and downloaded MP3s, and it was like, it was, the best, back then. I remember this docking station. This is the docking station that you put your phone up to. You'd lay it on that docking station, then it would become a docking station for plugging to the TV. Then your phone would become like a laptop. It would become the accessory, basically. That's the accessory. Let's see, that's the back of it right there. And you had a micro USB input for charging, which was a big deal. Back in the day, it was just starting. Now everything's USB-C, but there was 3 USB inputs for keyboard, mouse, and all of that. Audio cable, and that was where you could plug it to the TV using HDMI. And then after you plug it to the television, it would become like a remote in and of itself, and the phone screen would become a remote. But it had a heck of a flash. That flash right there is a bright flashlight, and it had a really good camera. It even had a good camera for that time. But the docking station was like the entertainment station. All the music, I remember having like 1,000 songs in that phone, and it was like an MP3 player. Back then, songs didn't take up as much memory, and I had lots of videos that I downloaded, cartoons, and shows, and YouTube videos, and things like that. And I remember I downloaded The Annoying Orange, and this cat barking like a dog, and some comedy videos and stuff from YouTube. And that was the big deal back then, My high school years from 2009 to 2013. And, yeah, it was like, then in 2010? No, 2012. No, it was 11, that's right, 2011, I got the next phone. But this was the Motorola Atrix, and that docking station it was your media hub, your entertainment hub for all the music and videos and pictures that you had on that phone. And if you had access to internet back then, and the internet was so slow back then, we got like 5-6 megabits a second, and a lot of times it was only 4 megabits per second is all we got at home on our old Netgear router from the company. Then many years later, they required to go up to 30 megabits per second. And then finally 300 is considered now pretty much the standard, like 300. But let's see. Yeah, that was the docking station. And then, but you had to buy a Motorola laptop if you wanted that, but I didn't do that. The next phone I had was the Galaxy S4, I think. Yep, that was it. I got a Galaxy S4. And that was a 4G phone. Not 4G LTE, but 4G. And that was the next step up, right after, and it was small. It was much smaller than the Galaxy S5. So, I think I went from that Motorola flip phone, track phone, to the LG Shine flip phone, to the Motorola Atrix, and then Galaxy S4. I loved and it was mostly 3G at the time, and then this was 4G. And this one had an upgrade of picture quality that was pretty good. It was like, wow, it was amazing. And you can see the difference though. And you selected apps, and there were still buttons on the bottom at the time. When you selected apps, it would scroll. Motorola Atrix would actually scroll like this, and the apps would scroll this way. That's the way your apps would scroll. Then my next phone was the Galaxy S5. That was the one I had last. I loved that phone, and it lasted me for forever. And it had two touch buttons. The return button on the right, tabs button on the left, and in the middle was the fingerprint scanner and home button. And this phone had, everyone loved that one and this one, the quality of the picture. Now mine was AT&T, still is, but everyone loved this phone of mine, the picture quality. And it had one camera on it and one front-facing camera with two facial recognition things, but I never used that, sensors. But it was a really good phone. Now my current phone that I'm using right now is this one. And it is so much larger when looking back at my other phone, the S5. It's the S21 FE with the ultra wide angle lens, 30x digital zoom. I think maybe up to a 10 optical zoom, but I'm not sure. But I know at Easter I took a picture. Everyone was shocked that I was able to take this picture of such a wide angle of all the family. I took the family picture, put the camera on a timer, and I took everyone's picture, all of us. There were around 30 people in that room, in the sunroom, Nana's sunroom, and I took the entire family picture. And we all we stood back, and I angled it, and my uncle and everyone else, they were all surprised that I was able to do that. They were like, wow, you should be a photographer. But I put it on a timer and used the ultra wide angle lens at around 0.9, and then I left it at, then I took another one at 1.1 so that I was able to use the flash if it's over 1, and then I angled it just so on this vase that Nana had on the table, and I looked to see if I got it right, set the timer for 10 seconds, and it flashed when it was ready, and everything was good to go. The picture was taken, and they loved it. But so this phone does have good quality picture, and they still love my other phone's quality though. The S5. Everyone's always bragging about my ability to take pictures, and I'm really proud of that. Now, my first tablet, I still have it, is the Galaxy Tab. The Galaxy Tab 2. I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's it right there. I think it is. The first Galaxy Tab, I think. No, that's not it. That's it. I think that's it right there. Yep, that's it. And the picture quality is horrible when taking front-facing pictures. And the back-facing is decent. I mean, it's probably 2 to 5 megapixels, but in the front's probably like a half, maybe 1. But I loved this tablet, and you know, it still works to this day. That was my first tablet, and it was a really big deal at the time. Oh, that's the inside right there. It's got a big old battery in it. But that's the inside of the Galaxy Tab 2. And then I got the Tab A, and then the newer version of the Tab A, for my tablets. That one right there is the one I got last. And then the one that I currently have is let's see, I got a wider one last time, the time before that, I mean, and it quit on me. And then I think this was the latest one. Yeah, I think this is the one I have now that I'm using, the tablet. But I'm using the Galaxy S21 FE right now for recording this. So, yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of my phones. I went from the 170, was it? Let's see. Nope, that's that flip phone. The LG, let's see here. I can't find it, but I think I'll find it eventually. It was the LG, the Motorola V170. That was my first one. Then it was the then I got the LG Shine flip phone. I think it was like the LG flip phone that I showed you. Then the Motorola Atrix was my other phone right after that. And then in 2010, I finally got the, after that phone and the attachments, I got the Galaxy S4. And after 2010, after 2011 or 12, I think I got the, I think it was 2012, I got my S5. Whenever they came out. It might have been 2014, I think. I'm not sure. And then the S5 that I got, yeah, that was S5. I don't remember when I got it when it first released. I only had 16 gigs of memory. And then right after the S5, I had I had the S5 for many years, probably a good 7 years, 8 years. And then I got the S21 Ultra, or S21 FE, I mean, not Ultra. And then right after, that's basically it. That's the last phone I've got right now. Then my tablet, my first tablet, they had those big old bulky cords like that to charge them. That was my first tablet, the Galaxy Tab 2, and it was actually really awesome, to be honest. Even though it only had 8 gigabytes of memory, which it had expandable memory up to 64 gigs, I think. So it was nothing in today's standards, but then I went with the bigger Tab A and then the smaller Tab A, and now I have the Galaxy Tab A 8.0. So this is a little overview of my previous tech. Just an overview of some of the phones that I've had. It's interesting looking back at the different devices, really, to be honest. It's kind of cool. And looking at the transition that's taking place. Alright, so much love and sweet dreams, everyone. I love you all.